Good morning, beautiful. I am so happy to start this day with you. Grab something cozy and let's get started. Welcome to Mornings with Kristen, your cozy corner for real conversations on motherhood, teaching, personal growth, and living life with intention. As a single mom, educator, and doctoral candidate, I know how overwhelming life can feel, but I also know that small moments of joy and encouragement make all the difference. Grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and join me for heartfelt chats that uplift, inspire, and remind you that you're doing better than you think. Our quote of the day: you can't go back and make a new start, but you can start right now and make a brand new ending. So this quote has been attributed to many people through the years. The most famous are C.S. Lewis and Zig Ziglar. However, upon further investigation, it more than likely belongs to James R. Sherman, Ph.D., who is the first noted user of the phrase in his 1982 book titled Rejection. Though earlier instances with similar wording probably exist, he is the most likely candidate for our current iteration of the quote. The meaning behind this quote is profound and empowering. Where you came from, what happened in the past, does not define your future or where your story will end. You can start now, today, this very moment, and create a new tomorrow for yourself. You have the chance to build a new you, start over, renew yourself in the possibilities of what could be, and begin again. Just because you were in one circumstance doesn't mean that that will be a forever situation. There are moves and counter moves in your life that you can make that take you from where you started to where you can be, where you want to be. It is never too late to start exercising, start a new career, start taking college courses, start having faith, start being kinder, start dressing better, start prioritizing family, start anything. It is never too late to begin anew and change the ending. Simply yell plot twist and keep moving forward. It's your story. How will you write it? So, you might be able to hear my dogs. They're kind of going a little crazy right now. It is a blustery day outside. Oh my gosh, it is hailing. That is hitting like crazy. I hope that your day is going a little bit more weather friendly. Yeah, that's fun. So I hope you're having a great morning and the weather's treating you well. All right, so into our main topic. You aren't a tree. You aren't stuck. If you don't like where you are, move. You might be able to hear the hail hitting my window right now. That's so fun. Okay. Psychology today calls a reset the fresh start effect. It's the idea that a person can disassociate their past performance outcomes from current ones. Temporal landmarks act as a kind of mental reset button to help us get back on track and get us focused on our goals. The one we know the best is, of course, January 1st. The whole new year, new you mentality. This is the same in my mind as, I'll start that on Monday. We love setting those goals for a future time or an acknowledged starting point that already means a new beginning. The Cambridge Dictionary defines starting over as to begin to do something again, sometimes in a different way. In a different way is the key factor of this definition. Organizational psychologist Adam Grant's book, Think Again, proposes that we must rethink the way we think and approach our assumptions and habits in a different way. It's not only okay to change our minds, but it is something we can benefit from and should encourage ourselves to do when we feel that internal nudge. We can do this by shifting our mindset. For instance, instead of feeling defeated, we can actually embrace the joy of being wrong. This is because being wrong or failing can open up the opportunity to learn, relearn, and try something new. In fact, his research found that mental flexibility helps us recover and actually learn from adversity. This in turn helps us evolve our actions. In short, we act in different ways. We start over. Research by Specht and colleagues found that our personalities are likely to change due to major life events. This is why getting to know who you are now happens by understanding who you were in your past. Examining your life in an unattached way to better understand why decisions were made can help you understand how you might act moving forward. McAdams and McLean found that people who engaged in narrative identity interventions and found meaning in their adversity and struggle enjoyed higher levels of well-being and had positive psychological adaptations that are important to change. Kind of an win or learn mentality. Knowing your values is also extremely important because it will help you understand what your priorities have been and what they might be now. The identification of your values is critical because one of the biggest challenges to success in any space, work, education, personal, is conflicting values. All right, so I love change. I love how you can shift and grow and become throughout your life. I grew up an army brat, and before every move, I would think, who can I be in this new place? Who can I become? Who do I want to be? Of course, being a kid during most of those moves, it didn't come to much, but the idea behind it has stuck with me. And the process I went through, even at all those ages and stages, to examine myself within my life, the roles I played, and the parts that had come to define me that I wanted to leave behind, have helped me to understand who I am and how my choices amount to the bigger picture of who I was to become. This becoming is important because within it you can find purpose, a driving goal, a source of contentment, and an internal peace. When you live an examined life, you can grow in amazing ways. Now, I was talking with my mom about this the other day. I told her that I hope I never lose a beginner's mindset. I want to always be learning and growing. I think for a constantly evolving life, that is important to cultivate in ourselves. In a beginner's mindset, we aren't afraid to make mistakes, to start from a place of unsure ability, to get it wrong and try again. As time goes on, you start asking questions because you feel you should already have the answers. Now, guys, should is such a naughty word. We really need to just take it out of our vocabulary. It has no place in a beginner's mindset. In the teaching world, we call a beginner's mindset a growth mindset. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not overly fond of that term. I've run into too many teachers, too many admin, just too many people who have used it really, really poorly. And it can be detrimental to the students. So we have to make sure that if we're using growth mindset, I'm talking to you teachers now, that you do your research and apply it appropriately, please. But growth mindset in its truest form is an applicable term for beginner's mindset. I like beginner's mindset because I got a lot of hang-ups with growth mindset. I'm working on that, but we're going to stick with beginner's mindset here. So if growth mindset is a positive thing for you, I want you to clip onto it. All right. Allowing ourselves to live in a beginner's mindset means that we never run into the problem of needing to always be right, perfect, or the absolute master of our craft, which closes us off to innovative techniques. Think about it. If you know absolutely everything about your craft and you are expected to have the answers, it's going to close you off. It closes us off to innovative techniques, new ideas, and asking questions that can grow us further. When we get to the point where we think we should, there's that naughty little word again, have all the answers, we start to let fear guide our actions. We are afraid to ask questions and receive the perception of being stupid. We are afraid to try something new and the possibility of failing at that new thing. We become afraid of innovation because the tried and true that has served you well is different from this new process. And what if you get it wrong? Dude, what if you get it right? Fear takes hold when we maintain an attachment to mastery and let go of our beginner status. Our minds close down to possibility and don't make room for expansion. We actually get smaller when we become the master. We get boxed into a level of perfection that can actually hinder our growth and ability to become more. Dude, you stagnate. When attempting to grow, change, start over, however it is you wish to call it, you must embrace again the beginner mindset. Cast your fears and doubts out the window and let the stumbling blocks and questions take center stage. Now, guys, I like the idea of starting over, but that can be incredibly daunting. I much prefer the idea that we grow into ourselves as we experience life and examine our life as a whole. A continuous level of growth and a beginner's mindset leading the way. Being mindful of where you are, where you have been, and where you wish to be. This continuous evolution of self allows you to dive into things that don't go as planned and learn from what went unexpectedly. When I first decided to start this podcast, I did not go out and buy the most expensive anything. I got what would work for me as I learned. I stumbled through learning how to record, edit, add music, put it out onto platforms, figure out hosting sites. Not to mention all the decisions about name, niche, topics, and aesthetics. Trust me, I still don't have it where I want it to be. This is only episode 4, guys. I have so much fine-tuning and learning that I am still doing. But if I had waited until all of those things were exactly the way I wanted them to be, I wouldn't be talking to you now. I would have let fear sidetrack me for another year. Because I had been waiting to do this for that long. I needed to get past the fear of the unknown and into a beginner's space of let's see if it works. And if it flops, I will learn and do better. Be gentle with yourself as you move into a place of newness. It's new and can be scary, but that doesn't mean you let fear be your guide. It is a bold thing to approach the growth of a life. So when you start to examine the parts of you you wish to change, say thank you to who you were. You needed to be that person for that time. Then allow the changes to transform you ever so slowly, with one decision after another. If your goal is to live a healthier life, you do it slowly. This week you go to bed earlier. The week after you wake up earlier. Next week you drink more water. The week after you walk for 15 minutes every day. Ease into the new you, and the shift will be natural and welcome. It does not always have to be an abrupt pivot. Treat yourself with the love and respect you deserve as you move into the next chapter of your life. All right, my friend. So here are some actions for you to consider. Number 1, get to know yourself. Reflect on your past experiences like a scientist. Revisit your values. Remember, values are tenets that are central to who you want to be in the world. The Harvard Graduate School of Education's Good Project has created an easy assessment to help you identify your core values. I'll put the link in the show notes. I learned a lot about myself and I highly recommend it. All right, step number 2. Start with small steps. According to Hope Theory, you have to identify the pathway to your goals, and you are more likely to succeed by making small behavioral changes to help you get closer to accomplishing your goals rather than big leaps of action. If possible, break down each goal into things you can do daily, just like I was talking about earlier about living a healthier life. Small things, little things, they all add up. Research indicates that small, consistent activities predict successful behavior. You are less likely to have significant failures or setbacks if you go slow. You do it a step at a time. All right, number 3, be open and curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Feeling like Alice right now. Inhabit the beginner's mindset we've been chatting about. So important. Leadership literature states that the power of a beginner's mindset is what allows people to look at old problems in a new way and therefore discover new solutions. Not only are we open to new things, but research also finds that there is a connection between openness, self-efficacy, which is believing we can do something, self-awareness, and change. And the last one, step 4, I think this is probably the biggest one you're going to do. You need to trust yourself and the process. Research during the pandemic showed that self-trust was critical to the success of students in virtual educational spaces. The more they trusted in their own instincts and behaviors, the more motivated they were to succeed academically. It's easy to doubt ourselves, especially when things become challenging or we have little outside support. Actually, this is when you have to trust yourself more than ever. Now, I want you to keep something in mind as you go through your 4 steps of getting to know yourself, picking out your small steps, being open and curious, and trusting yourself. Just as important to the steps you can take are the things to make sure you don't do. Number 1, don't ruminate or overthink situations. Looking at the past can cause some to dwell too long on what they perceive as mistakes. Know that you did your best in those moments and don't judge yourself in them. You were who you needed to be and made choices that made sense at the time. Right or wrong, they made you you. And quite frankly, the you that you are is pretty awesome. So you can't regret that. Number 2, don't feel like you need everyone's opinion or every piece of data. A few trusted people may be useful, but too many cooks in the kitchen tend to burn the toast, guys. Trust your own voice over everyone else's. The people who are called crazy in history are usually the ones creating the awesome stuff. Yours is the most important one here. So listen to your voice with all your might. Number 3, don't make decisions because you feel cornered or because there is a false sense of urgency. Trust in your internal timing to tell you when to make the leap. You'll know. I promise you'll know. The ability to trust yourself grows when you can be mindful and rooted in the present, when you give yourself time to think things through, and most importantly, when you can give yourself some grace and compassion. Just remember, you aren't a tree. You aren't stuck. If you want to change, move. All right, beauty, thank you so much for your time this morning. I am so glad to have spent it with you. Please be so kind as to like and subscribe here and on Instagram. My handle on Insta is Mornings with Kristen, all one word, Mornings with Kristen. Kristen is spelled Christen. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your ideas for future episodes. Also, please leave a review on whatever platform you are listening on, and don't forget to download. I also hope you know how incredibly loved you are by God, because you are. Psalm 23 lets us know that Jesus left the 99 to find the one who was lost. He is seeking after your heart, and if you are feeling lost or alone, please know He is always with you. I'm Episcopalian, and I know the Episcopal Church welcomes everyone to God's table. It doesn't matter your background, sexual preference, or orientation, or your marital status. If you need a faith center, the Episcopal Church is waiting to welcome you home. God loves you just as you are. My wish for you is to face your day knowing you're smart, strong, gorgeous, and more than capable of handling what this day brings. I believe in you, and I am rooting for you. You've got this. See you next time.